You did see, we kind of hinted at it a little bit, but you saw I forget what account it was. We'll put it up on the video, I'm sure. But had a mock draft for the 2024 draft class. And it mentioned a lot of players he talked about before. Cameron Brink and Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and Paige Beckers. Do you think those players are going to come out in 2024?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Say more.
Again, if I could have taken a fifth year, I would have. It's just college it's just different, and I love the experience. But then you tap on NIL money, like one of the big, draws to going to the W. Obviously, like continuing to do what you love, but you're getting paid. Now you're getting paid to do what you love. But now there's no real rush to do that because you have the opportunity to make money in college. And you think too, like some of these players that may want to make that jump to the W to maybe help support family or, whatever it may be. They don't have to do that now because they're getting NIL dollars. I think there's this common misconception that, we saw something earlier about Aaliyah Boston, her NIL making $118 and then her W salary being $72,000. Yes, but that's her salary. Her endorsement deals aren't just going to up and vanish.
Right. She's
still going to have endorsement deals. So that's going to take that 72 to well over 100K, probably closer to 2 with endorsements. And she might get a 6-figure Nike or, Adidas deal, and that will take it well over that. Then I'm assuming she'll play overseas where she'll make high 6 figures there. So she's going to make well over her NIL valuation. So that's a common, NIL is just strictly endorsement. There's no base salary. There's no going overseas. But I would understand why a player like Reese, who's skyrocketed since the tournament, why she would want to take that extra year because she's making good money to stack a little more before going into the W. But I think they'll all stay. And if you remove NIL from it, I think they're all competitors. They may want another chance at trying to compete for a title and to build on their legacies. So I don't see any of them coming out. Maybe Clark, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think I'm with you. I don't see many of these stars leaving in 2024 because why would they? Unless something drastically changes in the WNBA, They're going to make a really nice amount of money playing in college. You're right. For a lot of them, it's going to be a chance to compete for another title. Only one team can win next year, which means either Paige Beckers or Caitlin Clark. One of those two is still not going to have a championship. Mm-hmm. Angel Reese is.
They both might not.
At least one, maybe both. Yeah. Correct. Angel Reese doubled, tripled her followings on every account. I'm going to assume she's going to be one of the most high-paid NIL athletes of any sport next year. Cameron Brink, same. I mean, she already has a ring, but also massive social media following. I'm sure she's going to get NIL deals. I don't see many of those players coming out. I don't think it makes a lot of sense for them to do so. And
then too, you see some of these players that withdrew their name from the draft this year, and the chatter around that, UCLA's coach said she reached out to some of her, colleagues or friends in the W, and her feedback to Osborne was, do you want to, continue to fly charter and have the best of the best, or do you want to, be flying commercial and and you see that's been the chatter. But what I do say is it's still, you still have the opportunity to go to the W. So it's either you graduate and you're done, or you graduate and play. So I understand it's not the same. It's never been the same.
Right.
These universities have so much money.
Sure do.
So it's not going to be the same. We know the gripes that folks have, regarding certain conditions in the W. So I don't know. It's interesting, but luckily for the W, they only have a couple more years to have to worry about this because people won't have that extra COVID year anymore.
Yep.
The class we're just talking about, I'm pretty sure that's the last that was the last class.
COVID year class. Yeah.
So we won't have to worry about that. Excuse me, anymore. But it is interesting.
Very. I feel like the extra COVID year has amplified the discussion on NIL and WNBA because we don't usually you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, in the W, you have to be 22 years old.
But then too, again, this is where, I know often on the show, we talk about where we'd like to see improvements in the W, but it seems like it's such a polarizing hot topic, NIL, making that jump to the W, when there's college men's players that don't leave too because they're like Timmy from George Gonzaga. He stayed his extra year because he wanted more NIL money. So there's men that do the same thing, but of course it's just amplified. And it's another way to shit on the W when you see it on the other side too. Again, I have my gripes with the league, but like let's make sure like it's
you're right.
it's a problem holistically in college basketball, not just on the women's side. But I think the portal changes things too, because now it's like, okay, we can jump into your girl Haley.
Let's do it.
I think she's leaving Louisville because she saw what Angel Reese was able to do by leaving Maryland and how her brand skyrocketed.
Yep.
And some coaches just aren't going to deal with all the extra stuff. And Walls is my coach in college. He's about business, so I don't know how much he's like pushing certain things, but I think she's leaving to try to go somewhere where she can build her NIL branding,
which she should do.
Because while she went to a Final Four, we're gonna win this shit. She went to a Final Four. They overachieved, in my opinion, this year by going to the Elite Eight. I think she's a 2-time first team All ACC. There's no reason in my opinion for her to leave Louisville. I think like she's been successful there. So the only thing I can think of is that she wants to go somewhere that maybe has a bigger marketing plan for her.
Yeah, which I'd understand, right? Like this is a time for her to capitalize on being a star player at a star university. There's no guarantee that's going to happen for her in the WNBA. So you got to make your money now.
Yeah. I mean, there's one thing I'm envious of is NIL, because my Maryland teams, we would have made some money, but happy to see the growth. But I think the portal, they have to figure that out, because like I'm from the generation of you make a commitment, you stick with it. And unless it's causing you mental or bodily harm, like I remember my first preseason conditioning day calling my mom, like, Mom, I don't think I can do this. Like, it's hard. Playing at elite level and playing in elite in any sport on any level, it's hard. Yep. There's going to be moments that you're like, why am I doing this? I can't do this. But you have to stick with it. Like there was never one point, even Coach B kicks me out of practice I still to this day don't think I did anything wrong. But I remember calling my mom was at this one practice. We were going to lunch after. Me and Ashley Newman get into it in a drill. For some reason it was my fault. And then Coach B and I are going back and forth. And she's like, get the fuck out the gym. I'm like, all right. So I'm like walking off. My mom is there to see this. Afterwards, like, my mom's not mad at Coach B. She's like, well, you should have done what she said. I'm just like, look, like, but I feel like now kids call their parents and it's like one little hiccup and they're like transferring, or they're calling the coach and complain. Like there wasn't a moment I ever wanted to leave Maryland, but just knowing how my parents are and how they raised me, you made a commitment. You figure it out. Not everybody's meant to go to a top program and start day one. Everybody's not meant to start their sophomore year. Like, look at Diamond's a perfect example. Diamond got better every single year, and now she's the number 2 draft pick. Everybody's journey is different. I just think the portal makes it too easy to just, at the first sign of trouble, transfer and leave.
I'm curious though. I think the counter opinion here would be, coaches leave all the time, and you were really lucky to have Brenda Frese there for all 4 of your years. But do you think you might have felt differently if Coach B had left in your sophomore season, in your junior season? Because coaches do it all the time.
Coaches do it all the time, and I think players should have. I think they say your coach leaves, you should be able to transfer and not have to sit out. Yes, but no, you have people in their 3rd and 4th schools, like. It's you, sis. Like, it's not the school. If you're on your 3rd and 4th school, like, it's you. Like, it's not just, all right, I'm on this world tour of universities. Like, there's literally people like Taylor Mikesell. She transferred from Maryland, Oregon, Ohio State. 3 schools.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. And but to your point, like, I just don't think they thought the portal through. Like, they make it too easy at the first sight of trouble to leave. There are so many players that are on their 3rd and 4th schools, and it's just like, and 2, I think you're missing out on the college experience, like by bouncing around from school to school. I don't know. I don't like it.
I'm curious. I feel like we're also talking about the big names, and obviously it's still for Taylor Mikesell, it worked out. I mean, she was still whatever she was last night, a top 15 pick. But there are so many players who do go into the portal, and there are more players in the portal than there are spots on teams. So I really would be interested to hear stories from players who are not as well known, thought they were going to transfer somewhere else and couldn't find somewhere else to transfer to, because I think that is also that is also an issue with the portal.
It's changing the game. Like some of my friends that coach collegiately, they're like, one is just hard to recruit in general now because you can't build relationships anymore, and then two, it's hard to recruit those high school players because sometimes there's not spots left. Yep. Remember, I think it was last year, a good friend of mine, she said they were 1,700 girls women in the portal and 800 D1 spots.
Yep.
So a lot of people, I just think people need to stop making such rash decisions. Like at the first bump in the road, you're not playing, transferring. Because listen, I mean, we all go through it. Like, I mean, there was times I was in the W where I'm just like, I felt I should be playing, but now like removed from it and maturing. If you can help a coach win, they're going to put you in the game. So go have a conversation with that coach and ask them, what do I need to do to get on the floor? Like I think people take it so personally instead of just, all right, I'm a freshman. I have an All-American playing in front of me. Let me learn from this player. Ask the coach how I can get on the floor. I don't know. It's
tricky.
It's tricky, but it's also like, it's sickening. I think it's creating this generation of like entitlement. And if I'm a WGM, I might question somebody's loyalty and commitment and their ability to handle, rough times if I'm seeing they transfer to a school. Transferred 3 times. That's me. And again, I just come from a different era of where you make a commitment, you honor it. Again, unless it's bodily harm or somebody's like mentally abusing you. But I just think it's creating this entitlement. It's making it too easy to just, all right, I don't have to push through this. Because real life is hard. Real life is hard. And when you hit the real, like I always joke and say, now I'm a real adult. When you're a real adult and you're removed from sports, like you can't just transfer. You can't just up and get a new job. You have to find ways to bulldoze through those hurdles. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Because I know I just rambled a lot, but
it's good stuff.
I feel passionately about it. I think the portal is.
It's good stuff. I definitely hear your side of it. I also see the side where now it is a business. Like you are trying to make money for your livelihood. So I can see why some players might see an opportunity to make more money somewhere else, and that's why they do it. Because that's a big part of what NIL is all about. So I totally get what you're saying, but I'm trying to put, again, not that I'm an athlete, but if I'm trying to put myself in that headspace of, hey, I could stick it out here, or I could transfer here and make X amount more. I don't know if it comes down to money and if it's significant enough, I can see why I might go somewhere else, because it is a business.
But who has that really, really worked out for other than Angel?
I mean, it really worked out for Angel.
And because she's where she needs to be. That is a perfect place for her. But you can't convince me that transferring from X top 10 school to Y top 10 school is going to make that big of a difference in your NIL.
It's always situational, right? It depends on how good of a player you are, because some players like Angel, I mean, she would have been great wherever she wanted to play. It happened that fit was right for her. If you were like a middle of the road player, maybe you're transferring because like I could get a better degree at a better school, and that's why I want to transfer. Like, I know I'm not going to go pro. I know I'm not going to make NIL money. I'm transferring because I want to go to a better school and I want to get a certain degree. I feel like it's very situational, but we always think of the top players because that's who we're evaluating.
I agree. It's very situational, but I think the vast majority are doing it because they...
Listen, there are those people too.
I would actually love to see the percentage of freshmen in the portal.
Same. We should bring
freshman year is hard. Freshman year is hard. You are thrown into a whole new world of like, you're kind of an adult now. You're responsible for your schedule. You're responsible for getting from place A to place B. Time management.
Yep.
extra work, school. There's so many things. I'd be really curious to see how many freshmen are in the portal.
Same.
Actually, maybe I'll Google it.
We can bring up those numbers for a future chat.
Let's do it.
That's good. NIL talk is a lot. I mean, I don't think anyone has like a right answer to any of this stuff. It's a complete Wild West. Like when this was introduced, no rules were really put in place. I still think agents are trying to figure out what's cool, what's not cool, what can we do, what do GMs care about? Like how do I guide my player in the right direction for their professional career? We're all just gonna have to talk through it.
No, you're right. And like
it's not sorted out.
It's becoming a business.
Totally.
NIL should have been in place way long ago, preferably when I was in school. I just don't think that the NCAA and I think there's more they could have done to protect the purity of the sport and to not turn it into it. It's always been a business. Let's get that straight. It's always been a business. It's just been a business that the players have not monetized from. But now it almost feels like just a free for all, and it's becoming more so of you're being recruited, and how much NIL money can you get me? It's like that's become the number one thing. Which I mean, it's a business, so I guess so. I don't know. I think there's still more to figure out with it, but.
Totally. Listen,
it literally is a business now.
Maryland made some bucks off your guys' championship. That's for
I know.
sure.